जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोदश श्रीमद शिला अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिला प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद भागवतम की निताय गौ प्रेमानंदे। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So today we'll be reading from Canto 3 entitled The Status Quo, Chapter 20, Conversations between Maitreya and Vidura, text number... Is this today's text or yesterday's text? 34? Because 33 doesn't have any translation. Are you sure the guy finished at 33? Yeah, sure? All right. Okay. All right, 34 it is. 34. All right, we'll all do Mangal Charan. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalan Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vangsha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyeva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevayat Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripadamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Kashi Kashyashi Rambhoru Kashi Kashyashi Rambhoru Kovartastetra Bhamini Kovartastetra Bhamini Rupa Dravina Panyena Durbhagano Vibhadashe Kashi Kashyashi Rambhoru Kashi Kashyashi Rambhoru Ko vartastetra bhamini. Ko vartastetra bhamini. Rupa dravinapanyena. Dravinapanye. Durbhagano vibhadashe. Durbhagano vibhadashe. Vaishnavas. Kashi kasya shirambhoro. Kovastaste prabhamini. Rupa dravinapanyena. Durbhagano vibhadashe. Kashi kasya shirambhoro. Ko vartaste vattamamini. Rupa dravinapanyena. Durbhagano vibhadashe. Kashi kasya shirambhoro. Ko vartaste bhamini. Rupa dravinapanyena. Durbhagano vibhadashe. Word for word. Ka. Who. Ashi. Are you. Kasya. Belonging to whom. Ashi. Are you. Rambhoru. O pretty one. Kaha. What. Va. Or. Artha. Object. Te. Your. Atra. Here. Bhamini. O passionate lady. Rupa. Beauty. Dravina. Priceless. Panyena. With the commodity. Durbhagan. Unfortunate. Naha. Us. Vibhadhase. You tantalize. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvind Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Who are you, O pretty girl? Whose wife or daughter are you? And what can be the object of your appearing before us? Why do you tantalize us, unfortunate as we are, with the priceless commodity of your beauty? Purport. The mentality of the demon is being enamored by the false beauty of this material world is expressed herein. The demoniac can pay any price for the skin beauty of this material world. They work very hard all day and night, but the purpose of their hard work is to enjoy sex life. Sometimes they misrepresent themselves as karma yogi, not knowing the meaning of the word yoga. Yoga means to link up with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or to act in Krishna consciousness. A person who works very hard, no matter in what occupation, and who offers the result of the work to the surface of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is called a karma yogi. Jai. So here we are seeing Brahma was confused. Brahma met Krishna. Now Brahma has been inspired, and now he is doing his creation. Right? So we are at the point of inspiration. And one interesting thing is, when we are inspired, utsaha, sometimes things go a bit off. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes in our utsaha, things go a little off. So here we can see in the utsaha, Brahma has done some, has created not so wonderful things. So here we see the body that is shed by Brahma has become the twilight, the evening, the beauty. And this has enamored people. In fact, this is now keeping people in the material manifestation. One may consider that is my utsaha, is my inspiration inspiring people to leave the material world or stay here? This is very important. And usually, and I struggle with this a lot because I am bound materially very strongly. Many times I'm thinking, okay, I'm speaking, but is my speech binding people or liberating them? Because you're yourself bound, right? So myself bound. So then, is the speech liberating or binding? So in this, we have some inspiration that if our words are somehow attached to the acharyas, they'll be liberated. So this is fidelity to Srila Prabhupada. Right? Our fidelity to Srila Prabhupada and the acharyas, those words, although coming from a bounded being, Bhaktivedanta Pur Maharaj was explaining very nicely. He was saying that in the beginning of the Krishna consciousness movement, when it was set up, he says that Maharajas were being taught by people who were just 1 month in the movement. And the guy who inspired the Maharaj, he left. But the Maharaj stayed. And he's now become a Maharaj. Right? So the reason Bhaktivedanta Pur Maharaj was telling this is sometimes we get so overtly focused on the purity, not recognizing that if we are close to the Acharya, right, our message, because it is close to the Acharya, is pure. So the purity of our message is how close it's to the Acharya or how far away it is from it. Right? That gives it purity. Sometimes you may see, you may be going to university or you may be going to preach outside. Sometimes you will see that you made a very good point, but it didn't have the effect. You made a very good point, right? And you may be thinking, I made a really good point. I set the scene, I laid down the chessboard, I played all the right moves and checkmate. I said the right thing. But the other person didn't give in. Why? So sometimes what may happen is our presentation, while it may be very profound and maybe very scholarly, it may have great distance from what the Acharya wants. Right? So that distance from the Acharya means that our words doesn't have that hit. So here we will notice that this aspect coming out from Brahma didn't have closeness, didn't have that right mood with Krishna. Are you getting? So then this results. Right? Now, of course, Brahma is a great personality. His even thought can cause creation. He's great, right? He's Visarga. He's the active principle of Visarga. So Visarga means to release. Right? So when you do pranayam, what do they teach you? Sarga, right? Visarga. Now you release. Right? That's your pranayam, right? When you do pranayam, they inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Now the interesting thing of Visarga is you release what you have inhaled. Are you getting? In Visarga, you release that which is already there. So you've taken in, now air is in the lungs, you Visarga, you release that. So now the Sarga is Vishnu. Right? So this is what Maitreya Muni is presenting. There's a Sarga, all the creation. Canto 2 describes in great vivid detail of the Sarga. Right? So he says that is all now Vishnu, meaning everything has now been taken in, the egg has formed, everything is inside, all material, everything is now there. Now we simply have to release it, right, and create the beings. This body, this mic stand, this table, everything now has to be created. This Visarga is coming from everything that is in Sarga. Right? So now Brahma has to do this Visarga. He is creating. But now depending on how close he is to the mood or how away he is from the mood, the principles vary. Right? The first thing Brahma creates are the five ignorances. Right? Moham, Mahamoham, Tamishra, Andha Tamishra and Tamasa. Right? So the five. He creates the five nescience. That is the first thing. Why? Because that's the first thing that it comes to mind. The ignorance. Right? That is the first. Like if you wake up in the morning, what's the first feeling? Sleep a bit more. Yes? Very first feeling. Oh. Just close the eyes again. So that is, you can see this in Brahma, and then, being part of the same lineage, we are of course part of in the spiritual lineage also, we are part of Brahma. But then even in the material sense, because we are all emanating from him. Right? So then we have that inspiration. So the idea here is that this aspect of tama that is coming out is from Brahma being a little away from Krishna. Right? Now this beautiful form that has taken place, you will see that the demons are looking at this as, here it is being inspired as a girl. Why? Because it is something that we can enjoy. Right? Something that you can enjoy. You generally take it to be girlish in nature. Like when you see little kids, right? When I say little kids, I mean babies, toddlers, right? Be it a boy or a girl, they look very cute. They have that feminine trait, which is very heavy. Right? That feminine trait is very heavy. So then you feel like, oh, this child is so cute. Oh, if the child is crying, you'll ask the child, what happened? Right? Big guy is crying, you'll be thinking twice, should I reach out or not reach out? Right? Big guy is crying, you're thinking, if I reach out, what if, he just wildly turns his arm around? So you feel, with the big person, you feel different. With the child, my child may be wailing and moving its arms, still you feel inspired to ask, how are you? So because there is that feminine trait. So here, all of these qualities are given feminine traits. Right? And of course, we are also feminine in nature, being Prakriti. So we have that trait as well. Right? We have that trait of being, attracted to this material world and attracting others to this material world. So this is Tatashta. Tatashta means, I am now attracted to the material manifestation and I will inspire others to be attracted to the material manifestation. Both. Both sides are done. My attraction and my cause of other people's attraction. Right? So here, that aspect is being brought out. That the personality herself, she is very attractive. But the second, which is even more important, she is now attracting everyone else. Right? So this is utsaha in a different way. This is inspiration in a different sense. This is inspiration away from Krishna. There is inspiration towards Krishna. This is inspiration away. And now here, something very interesting is that they are asking, who do you belong to? Who do you belong to? Why? The determination of whether they can enjoy the object or not is the value. Right? You're seeing something and you're, just imagine, just for a second, right? You walk into the temple room. You see 10 people are sitting. You look left, you look right, and you see a Vyasasana is there empty. Mic stand is there, everything. You're thinking, so who's giving class? First question, right? Immediate. And then you're thinking, okay. And then you're looking around and you imagine there is nobody there. What is the second inspiration? I'll give class. Normal. This is very normal. Right? And does it mean it's a bad thing? Nobody's saying it's a bad thing. The idea is that that's how we inspire. First we look around, who is in charge? Okay, if nobody's in charge, then I'm in charge. Are you noticing? So that is your inspiration. So here, this is the mood of the demon. Now, does it mean that as a devotee, this mood is wrong? No, it's perfectly fine. This is the mood of how Vedic culture works. Vedic culture works in who's the authority. Right? So, who's the authority meaning? Paramatma features. So, unknowingly, the demons are working in the Paramatma feature. This is Paramatmeti. Who is the authority? This setup has been done. Who is the authority? Now, if you don't get an answer there, then your immediate presentation is, okay, then I'll become the authority. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a terrible thing. Right? You can see this in anywhere. Like, maybe giving class, maybe feeling very this one, but let's take a simple example. There is, a garbage bin kept outside the temple. First question is, who's in charge of cleaning up? That's the first question. You don't get an answer, then you clean up. Get it? So, I'm not taking this in a bad sense. So, this point of Paramatma feature is in your dealing, in how you deal. Your first dealing is, who's in charge? If you don't get an answer, then you're in charge. So this is the mood that the demons are bringing out. My dear lady, right? Who is your authority? Who are you being looked after? And if the answer is nobody, then the next thing becomes then, we are available to look after. Right? And in our day-to-day dealings, we will notice this mood, this switch of mood. You come in, okay, there is an authority. There's no authority, then I'm authority. Right? So this switchover happens. Now here, their third point that is being made is even more nicer. They are showcasing their enthusiasm to engage. Why do you tantalize us? Right? Now this is interesting. Okay, and why this is interesting is, it's not like the lady, the twilight came to tantalize the demigods. The demigods are being tantalized by looking at her. Are you understanding? So usually the blame game happens that we are saying, well, I am actually well controlled. But you tantalized me. Right? So I'm a good devotee. But why are you looking at me like this? Oh, you tantalized me. You see, we are usually very quick at blaming our downfall on someone else. Like, it's called impressions. This is how we do impressions. We project ourselves on others. Right? So this is what they are doing here. They are saying, oh, you are tantalizing us. Okay? So now we are in great trouble. Right? So this is your atypical, romantic conversation. Right? So any standard, when you see Romeo, Juliet, or any standard romantic book, this aspect is brought out. That, oh, you are tantalizing me. This aspect is very quickly brought out. That, oh, somebody else is the cause of my, mental loss. Somebody else is the reason for it, not me. Not like maybe I don't have good self-control. No. Somebody else is doing it. That is why in the system of education, it is first explained that in the first few years of one's life, one should take to the idea of brahmacharya. At least be inspired by that idea. That, oh, okay, I will take to brahmacharya. Because the idea is that in brahmacharya, you feel, you don't have any authority. Right? You got nowhere. You are living in an ashram, meaning you yourself are sheltered. Who will you shelter? You see, you yourself are sheltered. What are you going to shelter someone else? Right? So first that mood is taken out, then this mood of that I have authority. So, oh, do you have an authority? No, you don't. Then I am the authority. That mood is taken out. Then the second thing in brahmacharya is that, okay, stop getting tantalized. Right? So you'll start noticing how in brahmacharya, both these aspects are taken out. You try to take away the two aspects. Don't get tantalized. Why? Because if it isn't yours to begin with, then what is the point of getting tantalized? Right? You walk outside in the car park, you see a nice Bentley parked. Right? It's not your car, don't get tantalized. Of course, and most people will be like, oh, nice car. Pretty good. Whose car is it? Mind starts calculating, right? That's immediate. But in brahmacharya, it is explained that it isn't yours to begin with. So don't worry whose car it is. That is why it was when you see in Mahabharata or in Ramayana, when the rishis come, whether the rishi is sitting in the forest or the rishi is sitting in the king's palace, his behavior is similar. Right? Durvasa Muni, is what you call walking into a palace. Right? And he's dealing with the king. Or Durvasa Muni is sitting in the forest. Durvasa Muni's ashram is in Vrindavan. He's sitting there. What is the name of the place? Panigram, right? So his ashram is there. Or whether he's sitting there, behavior is the same. Right? Of course, he tends to get angry more. So there is a slight variance. He has an aspect of Lord Shiva. So there is that aspect. But the idea is that his behavior is the same. So this is what brahmacharya can do. Brahmacharya allows you to say, okay, I will not take the authority immediately and I will not get overtly tantalized. Right? So that, building that wall is important. That, I can't go beyond this and I can't go beyond this. And these two stops this mood of the demons. And you'll see this mood, gets very vividly gets described more and more. That the asuras, how they get clouded. Right? And how their mood, how their mood keeps falling down into different ideas. But here, the two aspects that are being brought out is very nice. And at least for us as devotees, we should see how we can stop these ideas. We will see in Krishna Leela, when Krishna is sitting in the village, in the, it's not in the village, I apologize, in the forest. And he tells his cowherd friends, I'm very hungry. Very hungry. And he tells them, now go to those brahmanas. Right? And he doesn't go himself. He doesn't go himself. And he tells them, tell them that Balaram is hungry. This is Krishna. This is Krishna, he inspires very nicely. He's very sweet in his speech. He says, tell them Balaram is hungry. Please give some bhoga for Balaram. Right? Now, then, the boys, they go, in this case, Sudama, Sridham, they all go, Madhumangal, everybody go. They go there, and then in this place, they ask the Brahmanas, my dear Brahmanas, please give this bhoga that you have kept here for oblations, for offering to the yagya. Please give this to Krishna. For he is the universal God. Right? So you should fulfill his desire. The Brahmanas are sitting and saying, no. We have authority over the food. And based on authoritative sources, this must be offered to yagya. So this is usage of authority. Right? So they are using authority to the correct level. They are saying that they have authority over this setup, this yagya kunda that is set up, this paraphernalia that is there, they have authority over that. Right? So that is why when kings would, basically, they would go around asking rishis to do the yagya, the reason was then they have to fulfill everything that the rishi says for the yagya. Because the rishi is then the authority. Right? And that is why it is said that after the yagya is over, one gives charity to the rishi, to the brahmana that conducted the yagya, because he has the authority over everything, even the benefits. He is the authority. And then when you give charity, then he releases it. Otherwise you don't get it. So that's the reason, right? So here the brahmana is sitting and saying, well, this kunda, this paraphernalia, I have authority. And he is right. There is absolutely nothing wrong with what the brahmana is thinking. But at the same time, one has to understand that when Krishna himself is present, then maybe we have to switch. At that point, we have to switch differently. So this understanding is very important. Right? So this is the right usage of authority. So of course, the brahmanas refuse. They say, these young kids, what fools are you? He says, you wait for the yagya to complete, then you can take. And the boys are thinking, what is this? Krishna is hungry now. And these brahmanas are refusing. They go back to Krishna. Then of course Krishna inspires and says, you go ask the Brahmin's wives. Then of course they go, they ask the Brahmin's wife. The Brahmin wives are, yes, of course. Now, the Brahmin wives are under the authority of the Brahmana. Yes, they are under the authority of the Brahmana. But they know who is the actual authority. You see, so this is how one should have vision to understand in the situation I am in, who is actually in control. Right? Who is actually doing the correct thing. Right? So they get inspired. They take all the cooking, despite what the Brahmanas are saying. Brahmanas are saying, you cannot do this. What are you doing? Okay, now of course in modern times, if wife would try to do something like this, the modern culture is that the man gets angry. But here, this is Vedic culture that okay, you must say a few times, person doesn't listen, okay, what you can do now? What do you do? A person not listening. Not that you get angry and you start punching and hitting. No. You say as much as you can, not happening. What to do? Right? The Brahmin wives go there, they offer it to Krishna. Krishna says that yes, what you have done is correct. Now you go back. Now when the ladies come back, the Brahmanas change their mind. So Srila Prabhupada writes in Krishna book about how the Brahmanas suddenly realize their mistake. And then we see our acharyas explain that the reason the Brahmanas suddenly realized it, that suddenly their houses all became palaces. Everything became rich and opulent. And now they realized, oh, the result is here, because they are result oriented. See, Srila Prabhupada is writing the purport about karma yogi, right? So they are result oriented. Right? So, but now they can see the result, now they understand who is the authority. Are you understanding? That's how they judge. So the question is, will Krishna give us the right result? Yes, if you have the right mood. These Brahmanas were in the right mood. They were properly executing their karma yoga. So then they saw the result. Oh, okay. And because what happens is if you are in the right mood, when you get the right result, you immediately know the right cause. Are you getting? Imagine us in that situation. We are sitting and suddenly we see a palace. What will we think? Because of my austerity, because of me, I caused this beauty to appear. Right? That's what we are thinking. That will be our reaction. But these guys, because they are educated, see, they are living in the outskirts of Vrindavan. So this place is between Vrindavan and Mathura. This place, I forgot the name of the place. I mean, all of the, like when you go for Vrajamandal, they show you all these places, right? And Yagyaika or something, that there's a place there. So in this place where you will be sitting, they explain the story to you. And they'll say that, well, they were here. Now, why were they on the edge of Vrindavan? Because they hadn't got the right mood yet. So that's why they were on the edge, right? Their wives got the right mood. So then they will get the next, movement into Vrindavan. The Brahmanas didn't have the right mood, so they were on the edge, right? So now these Brahmanas, they are able to see the result. Now they understand who is the actual cause. So if one is properly trained in Brahmacharya, and we see this greatly in Srimad Bhagavatam. We see the Brahmavadis like the 4 Kumaras. We see Sukadev Goswami, right? We see all of these rishis. They were so well trained that when they saw and heard of Krishna, they immediately accepted it. This is called proper training. Right? The proper training is you are trained such that now that you are seeing all the result, you know immediately who is the effect, which is Krishna. Right? So this inspiration is there. Now, so that is in terms of authority, how Krishna gives an example of authority. The second one in terms of tantalizing, right? There are many examples of Krishna, Krishna and the tantalizing behavior. But one of the classical example is Kubja, of tantalizing, right? The moment she sees Krishna, the moment she visualizes Krishna, she starts thinking, oh, what is this? Great beauty. Right? Great beauty. Now, when she sees Krishna's beauty, at that point also she's tantalized, right? And she's Shurpanka. Like her previous birth was Shurpanka, right? So in Shurpanka, she sees Lord Ram and she sees Lakshman and she gets tantalized. The mood of tantalizing hasn't changed. The only difference is that this time, in this birth as Kubja, she offers and renders devotional service. That's the only difference. In the other one, she was about to kill Sita. Right? In Shurpanka, she's like, okay, why are you not, I'm getting tantalized, why are you not engaging? They say, I'm married. Oh, you're married, we'll kill the problem. So, this is Shurpanka's mood. When it becomes purified, when the same mood becomes purified, it is switched to, oh, okay, then I should do service. And so the idea here is that many times we may get tantalized by the material manifestation. Okay, beautiful car, beautiful house, beautiful girl. Even many times, oh, beautiful position. Some guy may have great position. You're like, oh, this guy's so famous. Anything can tantalize us. All of those moods, we can switch to Kubja's mood. And say, okay, let me engage in devotional service. Let's engage that in devotional service. You have such a nice car. I hear many of you devotees saying, Mandra Ghosh was telling me all the lines he uses in book distribution. So you guys use all that tantalizing behavior to, distribute books. So that's the mood. That's the right mood. That you are taking all of this and just like Kubja, you are now engaging in devotional service. Now, did Kubja get what she desired? Yes, of course. Why did Shurpanka get it? See, it's amazing, isn't it? Kubja wanted the same thing, Shurpanka wanted the same thing. Kubja gets it, Shurpanka doesn't. Because in the mood of Kubja, she engages in devotional service. So yes, one's desire gets fulfilled. Srila Prabhupada would tell that many of my disciples will become Indras. They'll become great personalities. Why? Because they have desire, they're engaging in devotional service. If they continue in devotional service, straight to Vrindavan. If not, your desire will get fulfilled. Because for some moments of your life, just for some moments, you were engaging in devotional service. So yes, the desire gets fulfilled, but in the right way, right? So this same mood that the asuras have, Krishna in Krishna Leela is showing how these moods can be rectified, how all the moods can get rectified, right? So yeah, we will end here today. This is a very simple shloka. Kashi Kashyashi Rambhuro. How beautiful are you? Yo varthataste what do you call Brahmini? You are that object of tantalizing, right? Rupa dravina panyena. Your beauty is priceless. That great attraction. Durbhagan no vibhadase. And we are so unfortunate that we wish to deal with it. So, that mood is being described here, right? So we'll end here. Devotees want to share something? Yes, Prabhu.
It's really interesting questions the asuras has posed.
Yeah.
I was wondering, how can the asuras show such apparently such perfect etiquette? Is that?
Yeah, they're Brahma's kids. They're well qualified. Asura doesn't mean unqualified. They're not unqualified. Like, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu are sitting and thinking, all right, we got to get some power. So then they go and do austerity. They go and become, pray to Brahma. They are qualified. They know Shastra. Ravana was so expert in Shastra that, whenever yagyas were done, he was called to be the one who spoke the mantras. Expert. They're very...
They have intelligence, but they don't want to accept the supremacy of the God.
Yeah. They forget intelligence. They are highly qualified. We are not even asuras. Like if we are thinking we are demon, we are like at the category of asuras. We are not in that category. We are worse than that. We are worse than that. Asuras are quite qualified. They are rich. They have a lot of gold. They're qualified people.
So where are they going wrong then?
Oh, the mood. Just the mood. Just the mood is wrong. But they're qualified. Indra's mood is also wrong, but he's qualified. There's nothing wrong. You can be qualified and have the wrong mood. That is possible. You can be highly qualified and have the wrong mood. You see that in your day-to-day workings, in your office, in your home. You may be like, you may see a child, like sometimes you may see your kid and you may say highly qualified, but wrong mood. Right? And especially in children, you get to notice that. Qualified, but the mood is wrong. Happens. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But yeah, these guys are, you'll see in the way they deal, they're highly qualified. But then because their mood is wrong, then they stay in the material world. And like I was talking to some of the university students as well. I was telling them, see, if you're going to have the mood of a Mayavad or a Brahmavad, it just means you're going to be in the material world. That's pretty much it. Like Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam does not focus on your 60 years of the material world. It is focusing on how we live in eternity. But if you are focused on 60 years of the material world, the full, Saddarshana philosophies are for you. Right? Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, all of these Kandas are they're purpose built to keep you in the material manifestation. When I say keep you, meaning in the right way, not in a bad way. Right? You'll stay qualified, but you'll stay in the material world. So if that is the inspiration, then okay. But Bhagavatam's inspiration is to get out of the material manifestation.
Even when you talk about that mood, they're even saying that unfortunate as we are.
Yeah.
So that's
You'll see when they will talk to Mohini. It's similar. How unfortunate are we? Yes, similar, exactly same. There's no difference. Yeah. When when Hiranyaksh dies, and when Hiranyaksh dies, Hiranyakashipu gives a big speech. The chapter, not chapter, but a chunk of shlokas dedicated to his. Oh, how is this possible? Great. People come together like twigs come together in the river, and then when the wave comes, it gets split apart. It's just philosophy. You're thinking, man, this guy's a devotee. And when Kamsa, he talks to, what's his name, Vasudev. And he says, oh, I killed all your children, but alas, it is destiny. They're highly qualified personalities. They're not small timers. Kamsa was so strong that he had defeated all the demons. That's why they were doing his bidding. He defeated Putana, he defeated Agasura. Every one of them was defeated by Kamsa. You're not a small timer to do such a thing. You're qualified. We're not even good asuras. Oh no. Not even a good asura. Yeah. Anything else devotees want to share? Oh my God, eat prashadam cooked by Prem Sagar Prabhu. No, but yeah, this is Jayananda Prabhu said, no? He says, always have faith in Krishna, always have faith in prashadam, and always have faith in the words of Srila Prabhupada. Your mood will change. It's very nice. I love the way he said that. He says just three things. Always have faith in Krishna. Krishna as in the chanting of the Hare Krishna. Always have faith in that. Always have faith in prashadam. He said prashadam will change a person. It will, 100% it will change. And you will notice this yourself as well. Right? Yourself you will notice. You will physically see people's moods changing. After I think 2.5 years of giving prashadam, for this Janmashtami, this 5 university boys came finally. Finally, they came to temple to do some service. But they came. So after 2.5 years of eating some prashadam, okay, thank you for coming. But it changes. It changes. You keep giving prashadam, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it will change a person. So yeah, mood will change. Yeah. Alright, devotees. Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Go Premanande, Hari Hari Hari.